morning. This is Donna Hamilton from Quantum Healers 369 sharing a channel message this morning. It's November 18th. And Source has asked me to share this message. And I know that somewhere in the hearts of each and every one of us, there are some nuggets of truth and some value as far as being able to take it into your heart and really examine your own methods of processing things so that you can understand where we can improve our heart's light, where we can excel and move forward in our journey, and how we can help ourselves process better. So it's a little unusual title, and it certainly got my attention when Source started chatting with me in the early hours. And the title is "You Can't Talk Your Way Out of a Shitty Diaper." So yeah, that made me laugh and made me smile. Great way to start a day. So I'm going to share the information as it was given to me, and hopefully on some level, you can find something within the information that resonates with your own soul and gift yourself with some insights as to how to move forward, how to improve your spiritual growth, your understanding of how we function and work as human beings, and explore our inner world from there. So as infants, we're unable to take care of ourselves and rely on our caregivers to clean, care, and change our messy diapers. This is normal and expected, and as we are fragile and vulnerable at that stage, we seem to be limited to what we can do and rely completely on others to take care of us. They cry with discomfort and let someone know that they're in need of a change. So change becomes an important word in this message. As toddlers, we learn about our body, what it does, how it feels, and what we can manage on our own becomes important as we gain our independence. Toddlers soon learn to associate the act of messing their diapers with a sensation followed by an urgent need to get help. They know it is going to happen, but it's going to happen now, so they don't necessarily always make it in time to get help. They can resonate and relate to the sensation that it's happening and what it creates when it happens, and then how to get help to change that little smelly mess that's involved with not paying attention. So some will seek out their caregiver and let them know a change is needed. That's one of the things that we learn very early in life, that when we are uncomfortable, change needs to happen. Some will run and hide as they feel bad when it happens and they don't want anyone to know that something has changed and not in a good way. And others will come running right up to you and stand in front of you and make a formal announcement that change is needed. And those are the ones that are a little more bolder and outgoing type of personality. Young children begin to associate the sensation of what is happening and what it means. Then they get themselves to a place where they can use a toilet and do their own business. And that's a really profound shift in their reality, or change in how they learn to take care of themselves. They are much more aware with that feeling that happens inside. They start to relate to it early. They react accordingly and get themselves to a place where they can manage their independent use of the toilet instead of messing their pants. So teens are more sensitive to this process. They don't want anyone to know when or where change is happening. So they make sure that they find a safe place to go and get the job done without anybody knowing. Teenagers are typically more silent and secretive about the whole process of change. You can see how it starts to relate to things on many different levels as we go through these evolutionary steps in our maturity and transformation. Teenagers tend to be hypersensitive about their body and what it's going through, and they just want to really focus on the best way to take care of it so that they can maintain their independence through secrecy. So here we are on a spiritual journey, and we keep evolving and growing and moving forward. And then we find ourselves as an adult where change is more prone to control. We move into a state where we can avoid or manage our body functions And it can be suppressed or withheld for long periods of time until it is deemed convenient or necessary for our body to change and to eliminate whatever is going on inside. So these personality traits are going to become very important in an understanding that we're going to be working with. So here we are on the spiritual journey in times of tremendous upheaval and change in our comfort level with life as we're moving forward to a place where we are in charge, and how we handle it going forward is completely up to us. The direct reflection of our inner maturity shows up in the simplest ways. And how willing are we to clean up our own mess? And how do we manage it? How do we deal with it? It is a personal matter, but it's also very much an energetic matter that pertains to our comfort and our ability to go with the flow. So there is an element of management that comes with change, but it's also, I feel, the most important part in this process is that we recognize change is essential. Change is inevitable. Change is necessary. So here we are in this spiritual journey. We can start and identify a little bit with different facets of what we just discussed. The infant state, if our spirit self is in that, relies on somebody else to clean up our mess and declare not our problem. The toddler state, if we're in that, we find someone to shame or blame that is willing to clean up our mess so we don't have to. A little bit of attitude with that one. Youth, I am messy, but I find a way to hide it so I can be alone and independent and not share. So there's an element of isolation with that. The teen state, I'm super sensitive towards mess and how it affects me, so I learn to be secretive and I suffer quietly. Again, that form of isolation where I don't want the world to know what I'm up to, what's really going on. My willingness and ability to change is being suppressed and repressed. So life tends to get a lot more complicated or difficult when things are not allowed the benefit or the blessing of change. In the adult state, on a spiritual level, I've learned to control things I don't like or I don't enjoy. I can avoid it for days and pretend I'm okay. Well, that is probably the most extreme level of suffering, as we are creating a facade or an illusion all around us that everything's fine. I've got it. I've got everything under control. But on the deeper level, the changes that are trying to happen in your soul, in your spirit, in your personal being, that's necessary for you to be more loving, more kind, um, more compassionate. That whole thing is brewing somewhere deep inside. And unless we are willing to move into that space, into that place, yeah, it's messy. We don't like it. It can be offensive. It's offensive to us. And when it's offensive to us, we automatically assume it's offensive to others, not realizing that we have an incredible support system available should we choose to just get past our own personal limitations or ideals about the changes that are needed. So here's what happened on the spiritual level when we are stuck in our stuff. We don't take responsibility to change it or how to deal with it. Learning to process our own stuff or shit is vitally important and essential to maintain a high vibration and focus in life. It's time to take a close look at where we're at, how we feel about it, and commit to making any changes we need in order to rise up. Change is meant to be a benefit and a blessing. And when we get past the childish part of our humanness and move into the benevolent part of our humanness, we start to recognize that change is a good thing, change is a benefit, and ultimately change is a blessing, because it will always take us further into the truth of who we are, expand our hearts more fully, and allow ourselves to emotionally rise up into a more self-accepting, self-confident, self-worth state. Frequencies are energy in motion. So that's what emotion is. In our human language of reaction and response, it's an incredible experience to be able to really connect with and get in touch with your reactions and responses to things. Catch yourself going there. That way you can create change instantly. You can consciously create it. You can willingly create it. You can empower yourself to make choices and decisions that are completely different instead of allowing yourself to fall down the frequency um, line of energy and find yourself bottoming out or just maintaining yourself on that level. We can be incredibly wise and attuned to our bodies, our minds, our emotions, and focus. If we focus them on doing what is needed and what is necessary in order to be happy, uh, that is our will opening up so that we are more open to change. Not honoring our inner signals creates chaos and confusion as we interpret the energy flow of what we need as not being met or not available or we're not worthy of having it. It really is, again, it's a messy situation. And right now, as we look at the world around us, it truly is a reflection of how messy things are inside each and every human being. We all do it, we all have it, but the difference is being made in those of us who are learning to respect that it is a challenge. It is a chance for us to evolve. It's a chance for us to grow. It's an opportunity for us to open our hearts even more and love parts of ourselves that in the past were specifically there to create challenges that kept us busy, kept us learning, kept us interacting with one another on a very low level of vibration that isn't always loving or rarely produces anything that is going to bring joy or happiness. So, not allowing the flow creates disease. And in order to gain your focus on what is bothering you or what is needing to change, we take on physical symptoms. And those physical symptoms are speaking much louder than our emotional vibrations were inside. So now we've got physical things resonating and revealing themselves as needing attention. And if we continue to ignore that or we don't make the necessary changes that are needed, our physical body continues to deteriorate. That's just the way it's designed. It's if you are not going to take care of yourself, if you are not going to change in ways that cleans up your own stuff, then ultimately your physical body is going to be in a state where you're really uncomfortable and hurting, a lot of pain and suffering. That is a choice. And as hard as it is for us to accept responsibility, we need to start paying attention to how we process, how we get triggered, how we react to things, where we go when we react to things. Do we withdraw or do we stand forward and get bold and belligerent and try and blame or engage other people in a game of, you hurt me, you done me wrong. That's certainly not a game that any one of us enjoy or want to participate in. So when frequencies slow down, our vibrations diminish, and the functions of our respiration, circulation, assimilation, and elimination, those are all functions that are essential to the flow of our body and our being. And these are very much affected when we are not willing to make change. So when you consider the damage that it does to your organs, you may want to just have a little more closer look at your choices you're making, the messes that you're maintaining, because we maintain them with such fervor and determination. But yeah, once we realize that that is a game that's going on, it's time for your soul to find a way, a better way. It's unique to you. Your way is always going to be the best way, but understanding that only change will bring about a different outcome. That's what's really important. So we can change our thoughts. We can change how we feel about our thoughts. We can change our biology. We can change our body. We can change our frequency. We can change our life. And in doing that, we change our life force energy. Life force energy on the collective level is how we unfold or become aware of harmony. When there is harmony within our body, our systems, and we allow change to flow through, then it also expands out into the collective. So that the changes that are coming to our planet, our world, our dimensions, our frequencies, our energies, when we allow the changes to happen and we no longer hold back, we no longer withhold within, we just open our hearts, our minds, and our souls to allow change to just take over with the most joyful, peaceful, kind, and gentle energy of love. So until we can do this within ourselves, we cannot co-create and manifest a better world. It's not physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, morally, or ethically possible. That's a lot of difference that we could make by surrendering ourselves to the art and the act of change. So our world of abundance is working just fine. We have an incredible flow of abundance that is happening each and every day in every way possible. We can have an abundance of suffering. We can have an abundance of wars and disputes. We can have an abundance of ignorance and judgment of each other. Those are all forms of abundance, and they are energy in motion right now. But the responsibility for shifting that and transforming that is up to us. We have to change that, and only we can change that. And I believe what is truly waiting for on the spirit level is for humanity to wake up, to realize the changes we are in the middle of or in need of, and move forward into a willingness to do that in the best possible way with the best of intentions. Because love has a place in our lives, in our homes, in our hearts, in our communities, in our world. But if we're not willing to change, love can't find a greater way to bless us than where we're already at. We are loved in our dysfunctionality. Source never stops loving us, no matter where we are, no matter what we manifest. That has always been true. But now that we are awake and aware on a much different level, the responsibility of the changes that are needed right here, right now, are up to us. So we can talk about change, we can pray about change, we can envision change, but the quantum field does not recognize good intentions as reason enough to offer and deliver abundance to us. We've got to change, because if we don't, we're just going to have the financial means and ways of being much more dysfunctional with our inability to shift and change in a loving way. Loving ourselves is no longer optional, it's necessity. Loving yourself should not be something that is a last resort or choice. It should be the first right of being. So let's take that challenge of change and recognize that we are the change we've been waiting for. So use your sense of humor. If you're in a situation where you're triggered, if you're in a place where you're unhappy, if you're in a state where you're unhealthy or you're in pain, recognize that that's your dirty diaper, and talking about it to the world isn't going to change it. It's not going to change until you change it. And now there's a whole lot of ways and means and tools for us to implement that, to successfully achieve that. Let's commit ourselves with the intent to actually do and be the change. So hopefully this has given you some things to think about, part of it through our sense of humor, part of it through our human experience and the journey that we've all been through in the process of life and maturing. But really take a good look at where you might be stuck and where you might be committing yourself to staying in a place that you really don't belong, because you are meant to be blessed. You are meant to be abundant. You're meant to be healthy, happy. You are meant to be loved. So let's see if each and every one of us can contribute something to the collective in the next few moments, breaths, heartbeats, days, whatever it takes for you to take this in and really apply it. Please dedicate yourself to change as much as you can for the most benevolent reason of all, because we are worthy and we are children of the Most High. And changing anything that is a conflict or a contradiction to that can only improve who we are and where we are as a human race, as divine beings, and as energy that just needs change. Thanks for being a part of this moment and this message.